Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss Operation Iraqi Freedom, which is also known as Iraq War, but officially known as Operation Iraqi Freedom, launched by USA with the help of some other ally countries. Now, Operation Iraqi Freedom is also considered as an important event regarding the US hegemony policy or US tactics of maintenance of their hegemonic power. So like we discussed about Gulf War, then Operation Infinite Reach, then Afghanistan War. So just like that, Operation Iraqi Freedom also is a part of their USA hegemonic tactics. Okay, so let's discuss about this Operation Iraqi Freedom. So Operation Iraqi Freedom was a protracted armed conflict that began in 2003. It is led by United States with a coalition force which overthrew the authoritarian government of Saddam Hussein. As we all know that Saddam Hussein was he was the ruler of Iraq for many decades. He was like a king of Iraq. Even in the time of Gulf War, again Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq, and again in this time also Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq. So ultimately, he was the all in Iraq and one of the biggest enemy of USA. So USA always targeted to overthrow him, capture Saddam Hussein, because Saddam Hussein never compromised with USA. He was regarded as one of the biggest enemy of USA. So USA always tried to overthrow their government. They also tried in Gulf War, but they could not succeed. They only succeeded to overthrow Iraq army from the Kuwait. So ultimately now USA got a chance to overthrow Saddam Hussein from his power and they take over the control of Iraq. Okay, so that's why the Operation Iraqi Freedom was launched. It was the tactic of USA to maintenance of its hegemony in world politics, to prove their dominance in world politics. However, USA give some other reasons to justify their attack. Okay, they attack on Iraq, but they have to give some justification of this attack, because in international system, international law, you cannot attack in a country without any reason. Okay, or for any personal issues. So therefore, you have to give some justification. You have to give some solid reason that for this reason we want to attack this country, and that reason mostly based on world peace, world terrorism, these kind of things. For example, USA attack on Afghanistan, and the reason presented by USA that it is a war on terror. So USA said it is a war on terror. That's why we attack Afghanistan, because Afghanistan had base of the Al Qaeda, which attacked USA on 9/11. So we try to destroy the Al Qaeda base. So that's why we attack on Afghanistan. So that is the justification of Afghanistan war. So there is another justification for Iraq war, that we actually fight for world peace, and we fight against terrorism. So this is the justification of USA on this Operation Iraqi Freedom. So Bush administration, that means the George W. Bush, who was the president of USA during that attack, he said that this was a part of war on terror following the September 11 attack. However, there is no connection of Iraq with this attack. However, USA said that there is a connection. Iraq has a connection with the 9/11 attack, so Iraq has a connection with the world terrorist groups. So they try to justify their attack that Iraq has a connection with world terrorist group, and they also support the 9/11 attack made by Al Qaeda. So the Bush administration, they also claim that basically this Iraq war happened with mainly two claims. One of the claim is that Iraq secretly developed a WMD program. Now, what is WMD? WMD means Weapons of Mass Destruction Program. So they secretly developed WMD program. Now, what is this Weapons of Mass Destruction? Weapons of Mass Destruction means those weapons which can destruct, destroy a city at once, can destroy the life of many people, lakhs of people at once. Suppose you are attacking with a bullet, you are attacking with a revolver, or you are attacking with a simple small size bomb. So there may be destruction of few lives. If you attack on bullet, there the destruction of only one life at one time. If you attack on a small size bomb, you can destruct of a few lives. But if you attack with WMD, that is Weapons of Mass Destruction, in few seconds you can destroy entire city and lakhs of people's life. We can give example of Japan's Hiroshima and Nagasaki, two cities. These two cities were destroyed by USA by using nuclear bomb. During the Second World War. We all know about this history. So the two cities of Japan were totally destroyed. Lack of people died due to this attack. And even not only the people were died, but also many people were injured. Many people became physically handicapped. And not only that, even after the use of WMD, weapons of mass destruction, the whole area became polluted for many years. So therefore, the new generation born after this attack, they also born as mentally disturbed or physically handicapped or mentally handicapped. All these problems were created through this use of weapons of mass destruction. So we can just imagine the situation. So we can say that when WMD will be used, there will be a mass destruction. That's why these kind of weapons is called mass destructive weapon, like nuclear bomb, biological weapons, all these kind of weapons. So USA claimed that Iraq secretly developed this kind of weapons. So that we have to prevent Iraq from to develop this kind of weapons. And then also they claim that Saddam Hussein has a secret relation with Al-Qaeda and they support Al-Qaeda, they help Al-Qaeda in 9/11 attack. However, in later, there is no evidence that Iraq actually supported Al-Qaeda, but this is the claim made by the US officials. So basically, these two claims, on the basis of these two claims, USA tried to attack on Iraq. They justified the attack on Iraq. So therefore, they made a resolution in UN Security Council, try to gain support from other countries. However, many countries, even some members of NATO, did not support USA regarding this attack. However, they gained support from some other countries like Britain and some other countries, and they launched attack on Iraq. So this Iraq war began on 20th March 2003. And USA, then UK, and several other coalition allies, they launched a bombing attack against Iraq. And it's a very usual thing that Iraq army has to surrender because there is a huge force. USA already has a huge military and very technically sound, as well as for numbers. There is a huge army for numbers, from technical side, from the equipment angle. The USA has a very huge army. So USA has a huge army. Ultimately, UK is there. UK was there, and other allies was there. So ultimately, Iraqi army has to surrender. So after the surrender of Iraqi army, there is a collapse of the Ba'athist government, which ruled in Iraq, and Saddam Hussein was escaped after this attack. And in the December month of the same year, that is the 2003, in December month, so Saddam Hussein was captured. He was hiding with some drains, I think, I forgot. So Saddam Hussein was captured. And then after 3 years, he was executed. He was given death penalty. So the president of Iraq, the supreme of Iraq, which ruled Iraq from over the years, which always ruled Iraq like a king, he was executed in the same country with like a normal criminal or just a simple criminal. Okay, so president of Iraq, former president of Iraq, executed in the same country after 3 years of this Iraq war. Okay, so this is the end of the history of Saddam Hussein and also end of the one of the biggest enemy of USA. Okay, so let's see some consequences of this Operation Iraqi Freedom and some special event occurred in these 5 years, because this whole Operation Iraqi Freedom lasting for 5 years, and even after there are various consequences we can discuss even after these 5 years. So one of the important consequences is that there is the emergence of significant insurgency groups in Iraq, especially the rise of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Because in Afghanistan, USA already destroyed various Al-Qaeda bases, so they newly established their base on Iraq, and so suddenly there is significant insurgency groups arise in Iraq. So due to these insurgency groups, there was a civil war situation in Iraq between 2006 and 2008. So there's a huge civil war kind of situation, and many people died, many people killed during this civil war, because there's this insurgency groups are there, especially Al-Qaeda was there. So there is significant amount of violence was there. However, in the time of 2008, there's a depletion of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda powers remain fall down, and of course, automatically there's a subsequent reduction in violence, because the main leader of the violence was Al-Qaeda. So automatically, when Al-Qaeda was falling down, the violence was also falling down, and immediately USA tried to establish a parliamentary democracy in Iraq. And then we can see the formation of new Shia-led government. So ultimately, this is a USA favorable government. So USA applied the same tactic which they applied in Afghanistan after the Afghanistan war. They attack on Afghanistan. They overthrow the Taliban government in Afghanistan, and then they establish a democratic government. Although we say as democratic government, but because the government is chosen by the people of Afghanistan, but in the reality, we all know that this is a USA favorable government, so USA supportive government. So basically, it's a USA. The government is established by USA indirectly. Okay, so same tactic USA applied in Iraq. They overthrow the Saddam Hussein government, and now after they're controlling the violence, they're controlling the civil war, they try to establish a democratic government in Iraq, and with their favorable people, their favorable party, their favorable leaders. Okay, but although Al-Qaeda was depleted, their power they became falling down, but there was a rise of the successor of Al-Qaeda, that is ISIS. Now ISIS now considers as one of the biggest threat to the world peace. It is one of the biggest network of terrorism in entire world, and so it is even bigger than Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda was a big terrorist group and a huge terrorist group, big networking terrorist group, but ISIS, the successor of Al-Qaeda, was even bigger. Okay, so after the depletion of Al-Qaeda, it was many people think that okay, now world terrorism network now collapse, but it was actually not. We can see the rise of ISIS. So due to the rise of ISIS, the US Army, which was officially withdrawn from Iraq in 2011. So in 2011, US Army officially withdrew from Iraq. But due to the rise of ISIS in Iraq, again in 2014, US Army again returned back to Iraq, and there is another civil war emergency kind of situation in Iraq. So in all these years, 3 to 5 years, we can see there's an estimate of more than 1.5 lakh to 10.3 lakh people, Iraqi people were killed in these 3 to 5 years. So there's a huge margin. So these are some consequences of this Operation Iraqi Freedom. Now, in conclusion, we can say that this Operation Iraqi Freedom was a part of US hegemony policy. Just like Gulf War, just like Afghanistan War, just like Operation Infinite Risk, this Operation Iraqi Freedom was also a part of US hegemony policy. Although USA tried to justify this war with various claims, various reasons, like Iraq tried to develop WMD, weapons of mass destruction, secretly, and they also claim that Iraq has a relation with Al-Qaeda and support the 9/11 attack. But however, later there is no evidence that Iraq has a relation with Al Qaeda and support the 9/11 attack. And even there was no evidence that Iraq developed WMD program. Okay, even that evidence was also not found. Okay, so even the UN officials cannot found there's a evidence of there's Iraq developed some WMD program. Okay, so ultimately all these claims after the war, all these claims are, they prove that these are false. So, but ultimately, because everyone knows that USA actually just give the justification that why they are going to attack Iraq, but ultimately all people know that, almost all world know that this is the tactics of USA to maintain its hegemony, to show their military power to entire world. They tried to overthrow the Saddam Hussein because Saddam Hussein never compromised with USA. Saddam Hussein was one of the biggest enemy of USA, so they tried to capture Saddam Hussein, they try to overthrow Saddam Hussein from power and try to control over Iraq, their oil sector. So it is a big plus for USA, this war. So global criticism was there. Globally, this attack was criticized because humanitarian issues were there, human rights issues was also there. So globally was criticized, but USA, we all know that USA never care about this. Even Afghanistan war, during the time of Afghanistan war, USA was globally criticized, but they did not care about it. So again, the same thing happened. So because USA has the dominance over world politics, they has the dominance in UNO. So ultimately, they did not care about it. Okay. So ultimately, USA again prove their dominance in world politics again and again. Just they prove in the Gulf War, they prove in the Afghanistan war. Again, they prove their dominance. They prove their military power. Okay. So all these events we see, especially if you're talking about Gulf War, if you're talking about Afghanistan war or this Operation Iraqi Freedom, these are all the part of the USA hard power policy. So USA basically used three tactics to maintain its hegemony, that is hegemony as hard power, hegemony as soft power, and hegemony as structural power. So these military attacks are actually the part of hegemony as hard power, which we are going to discuss in our next class. So till then, goodbye everyone.